On the night of June 13, 1886, Lake Starnberg in Bavaria was shrouded in drizzle and thick fog. The lake water was icy cold, as if ready to swallow all the secrets along the shore. Ludwig II, once as handsome as a deity and ruler of Bavaria for 22 years, floated on the shallow water. Not far from his body lay Dr. Gudden, the physician who had diagnosed him with mental illness. The whole of Europe was shocked at that moment. Why would a king deposed only 3 days earlier die in such shallow water? His lungs held no water, meaning he did not drown. Then who killed him? Tonight, let us follow the gentle glow of the fireplace and walk into the true story of his life with this tale we need not strive to remember. He was a whimsical dreamer, yet also a victim of power. His life itself was a gorgeous, melancholy labyrinth. The cracks in the story trace back to a sweltering morning in 1886. When a government medical commission forced their way into Neuschwanstein Castle, Ludwig II sat within its Wagner-inspired halls. Before this, the cabinet had unilaterally labeled him a paranoid schizophrenic, using nothing more than his lifestyle as evidence. He slept by day and roamed the forest at night. He drained the national treasury to build castles and even sought loans to construct more fantasy retreats. Yet the doctor who issued the diagnosis had never once examined the king in person. It was nothing less than a political frame-up. To the Bavarian cabinet, Ludwig II was no longer fit to rule. He refused tedious military parades and trivial official paperwork, choosing instead to dwell within medieval tales beneath the moonlight. But under the shadow of an industrializing, militarizing Prussia, Bavaria could not tolerate such romantic indulgence and fragility. And so the castle he built as a dreamlike sanctuary became his final prison. As he was forcefully taken away from Neuschwanstein, he gazed longingly at its soaring spires, knowing he would never return. Ludwig II was never born mad. He was once the most anticipated heir in all of Europe. He ascended the throne at 18, strikingly handsome and statuesque, revered by the people as the embodiment of the Sun King. Yet the young king soon realized that as a constitutional monarch, he held no real power to command or decide. He was merely an ornate figurehead. Beyond politics, his only true companion was the composer Richard Wagner. He granted Wagner unlimited funds to build opera houses, stirring fierce resentment among the people of Munich. His almost obsessive devotion to art was fundamentally a compensation for his loss of real political authority. After Bavaria's defeat in the War of 1866, Ludwig II became little more than a vassal of the Prussian Empire. The defeat shattered him deeply. He grew to detest Munich and its compromising politicians. He fled deeper into the mountains, building Linderhof Palace, Herrenchiemsee Palace, and his greatest masterpiece, Neuschwanstein Castle. He was not merely constructing buildings, he raised stone ramparts around his soul, striving to shut out an era that suffocated him. Let us return to that fateful rainy night, and uncover what truly happened on the shores of Lake Starnberg. Ludwig II remained eerily calm, even asking Dr. Gudden whether the lake still ran cold this time of year. At 6:30 in the evening, he proposed a walk along the lake and insisted the guards stay behind. 2 hours passed, and neither returned. When they were found by the shore, the doctor lay dead in the shallows, and the king had already passed away. Witnesses later claimed to have seen shadowy figures across the lake, and some even reported hearing gunshots. When Ludwig II's body was transported back to Munich for an autopsy, faint marks were found on his back, yet the official report was sealed by the royal family. Years later, researchers claimed to have viewed the king's formal attire, bearing 3 clear bullet wounds along his spine. If it was suicide, why held his lungs no water after death? If it was murder, who pulled the trigger? Was it the hungry cabinet eager to seize power? Or Prussian agents eliminating him for refusing to sign a political agreement? This secret was laid to rest alongside his remains in St. Michael's Church, becoming one of Germany's greatest historical unsolved mysteries. Ludwig II's so-called madness was largely an interpretation imposed upon him. He possessed profound literary cultivation and oversaw every minute detail of his castle designs, down to the embroidery on the curtains. His surviving letters reveal sharp, coherent reasoning, nothing like a fractured mind plagued by psychosis. What truly led to his ruin were his mounting debts and his quiet longing for intimate companionship with other men. In the rigid Victorian era, such private emotions were condemned as moral corruption and mental instability. He was a tragic soul misplaced in time. He cherished heroic epics, pure white swans, and the starlight of midnight. Yet his nation demanded soldiers, cannons, and the cold output of industrial steel. When this contradiction could no longer be reconciled, society erased him cruelly and completely. He built Neuschwanstein hoping its walls would shield him from worldly intrusion. Ironically, he perished on the road leading to his dream castle, passing away in the embrace of the land he loved dearly. After Ludwig II's death, the castles once condemned for draining the treasury became Bavaria's most precious treasure. Millions of travelers journey to Neuschwanstein each year, drawn to the dream left behind by the so-called Mad King. Only after his passing did people begin to truly miss him, a melancholy king who rejected war and devoted himself to crafting beauty. Perhaps for him, death was not an end, but a final escape. He no longer had to face ruthless politicians, nor pretend to be a proper ruler. He became the swan, gliding into the mist, drifting toward the peaceful world of loyalty and belonging he had always longed for. Tonight's story reminds us to cherish the relentless pursuit of beauty, and to understand the profound loneliness of being misunderstood. The waters of Lake Starnberg remain quiet, and he has fallen into an eternal, peaceful dream. Good night.